Welcome to Focal Point. Recently, information has been circulating that in America, only 1 in 3 Americans have a last will and testament or trust. When they asked the people why, you know what it was? 43% said, I just haven't gotten around to it. Well, recently I sat down with my wife and we put together our last will and testament, and it's important. I also sent out a book by Derek Prince about hope and grief because I was on the phone with somebody and 48 hours later he was gone. And a friend from our church, he passed away. We don't know the day nor the hour, but do you have a last will and testament? Now, God has a beautiful plan for families. He tells us, children, honor your father and mother. This is the first commandment with a promise, so things go well with you and you'll live long on the earth. But then he tells parents, he says, a good man will lay up an inheritance for his children's children. So being a good steward and distributing your assets and taking care of that, I know it takes time and investment, and it took us hours, but in the long run, it pays off. So I would like to just simply say, do you have a will? That's that general statement that tells you where you want to distribute, I guess, assets and to whom. But a trust, and we've been advised by so many people, this is better because it's a very specific legal document. You designate a trustee, and then with attorneys, you make sure things are put into a trust, and there's protection, and you don't find yourself in a probate court where you're forfeiting inheritance, and there's all kinds of conflict among the family. So let me give you right now, if I can, 10 reasons why, and these are critical reasons why you should have a will or a trust. Number one, and this is what I drew up, I thought number one, it's this. It ensures effective management of your life and resources at the end of your days. Paul said the time of my departure is at hand. And so when you're possibly incapacitated, you're not in a good place mentally, and I know nobody likes to talk about these things, you want to guarantee that you will have end-of-life measures. So you're not just being subject to somebody that says, well, pull the plug or do this or do that. You have it all in order. It's streamlined and it's for safety. Number two, I'd say you need a will or a trust so that you can guarantee your wishes are carried out and that everything is honored the way you and your spouse want it to be. You don't want to leave it up to fate. You don't want to leave it up to some court or some attorney who doesn't know you. Number three reason I would say is this, and these are mine. You can avoid, I believe, estate parceled out according to state laws instead of those that you desire. You'd be shocked about inheritance tax that states have and estate taxes. People say, I didn't realize this. Well, I'm glad where I live in Tennessee, none of this exists, but a lot of places, and there goes the inheritance, and children later find out, and it gets problematic, to say the least. A fourth reason you want to have a will or a trust, I would say, is that it ensures that we have the opportunity to leave a legacy. A lot of times people say, I want to leave something to a church or maybe Samaritan's Purse and that. Well, you can leave that legacy by designating that and putting it in with a legal person into your will and with a trust. Number five is this. It protects all of the family and dependents, including grandchildren. You'd be shocked the horror stories that people say, well, wait, I didn't want that with my child. Or what? This one's estranged. Or well, why are they doing this for the grandchildren? And well, probate court, they come in and people lose a large percentage of inheritance and it leads to conflicts, which leads me to what I put down as number 6. It prevents family disputes and provides for harmony and peace instead of arguments and potential lawsuits. People have opinions. And in a chaotic time, a challenging time, a time of grieving, people aren't always thinking clear. Some people don't do any preparation. They say, well, I just stick it to the kids. Well, no, you want to provide for them and make sure nothing is left to chance. I would add another one is this. It prevents not only arguments, but you avoid any expensive and wasteful probate process expenses. That can be very time consuming and very costly. You say, what's probate? Well, I'll let you look that up. But people end up, the majority that just have a will and not a trust, in probate court, and they're shocked. Wait, how come this is happening? Who's deciding this? And all the rest of that. Another one that I would say is you can avoid, and this would be number 8 I wrote down, you can save court and legal fees that can be exorbitant and take away from the inheritance. You say, yeah, that makes common sense. It is common sense. How about this one I wrote down? It ensures total privacy. When you have a trust, it's all behind the scenes and it's all private. It's not a public record, which with a will, there it is. Everybody sees what's going on. Number 10 is this. It allows you to prayerfully designate the overseer and executor who works hand in hand with the specific legal authority in what? Areas like sale of a house. What about cars? What about heirlooms? All the rest of this. Now, the Bible tells us that in Leviticus, it talks about chapter 25, God gave specifics on dividing up property. And the Bible says children are not to lay up for parents, but parents for children. My dad died like that. It was instant. Went to a church service, and he came home and bowed his head and died. My mother, she was almost 90, 87, and my wife's parents, also, it was a lingering and it was a slow process. But you know what? I think God enabled us in advance to make good preparation, and I want to encourage you, don't put this off, but get counsel and invest the time, and I guarantee you, when your time comes, you'll be glad and your family will be glad, because there'll be harmony and peace instead of conflict.
Hey friends, if you felt this video was helpful, make sure you like and subscribe so you get notified once new videos become available. Thanks.